So today I have come to the Warren Fishery in Essex, which is a club complex of lakes, and I've been guested on very kindly by cameraman Brad. I'm here just for a day, and today we're basically going to be going through everything that I would be doing for a day session in the winter. So looking at the tactics that I use, the baits that I use, and most importantly, where to find the fish. And that is exactly what I'm going to do right now. Have a lap and see where I'm going to start my day. So if you're going to be fishing day sessions in winter, obviously you don't have a lot of time in the day. Daylight hours are obviously a lot shorter. So you've really got to make sure you're on your A game with location, because if you're not on the fish, you're simply not going to catch them. They're not moving about as much as they are in the summer months. And yeah, if you don't get on them, you haven't got a chance in hell. So I'm walking around, I'm looking for things like shows, but obviously they are fewer and far between in the winter months. So little pinprick bubbles, looking at snags, looking to see whether the sort of branches are just twitching as the fish's fins brush up against them. Those types of things are all the sort of things that I'll be looking for. And again, if you don't see any signs, then there are the likely looking areas that you can approach. Open water, the central area of the lake, always tends to be the warmest, and equally if you've got snags, they are going to be areas where the fish feel safe. So I'd always err for either a snag, some sort of structure, or the central area of the lake if I haven't seen any shows. With Christmas just round the corner, I thought I'd give all of you people who have watched this video the chance to win a prize. So the eagle-eyed amongst you will see that in this video I am using some Aquos Camo Luggage items, and I'm going to give you the chance to win £140 worth of that kit later on in the video, so stay tuned for that. So I've done a bit of a lap, and yeah, I've definitely seen a few areas on this lake where it looks likely the fish will hold up. There's plenty of little snaggy margins and corners where you'd like to think that they'd hide away and get a bit of sanctuary. However, despite eyeing up all of those spots, the only sign that I've seen is one fish that crashed out twice. Didn't look like a feeding fish, however, that definitely means that there's fish there, and if there's one there, there's likely to be more in these colder months. So that was literally just over my shoulder here. I saw it from the far side, and I've come around here to have a bit of a closer look. I haven't seen any more, but I've kind of pinpointed the general area of where that fish was. So I think this is the best place to start. I'm going to stay mobile, kit on the barrow all day. So if this doesn't look any good, I'll try somewhere else. Okay, so before I cart my kit round to the swim that I'm going to head to first, I am going to prep up a little spot just along this sort of snaggy margin. There's a couple of little sort of holes that are cut out in the bushes, and it looks absolutely prime. And whilst I haven't seen anything here, I'm sure that there will be fish in and around that cover. There's so much sanctuary and security for them there. I'm sure there will be fish. So I've literally got a tin of sweet corn. I'll probably put maybe a third of that in, so really not a lot at all. Sweet corn is pretty much 90% water, so it's not going to be feeding them an awful lot, but it will mean that they're slightly up for it if I do come in here later and try and get a quick bite. So let's go do it. Okay, so this is the swim that I was going to starting, and actually whilst I was walking around I've seen another fish probably 20 yards out straight in front of this peg, so pretty eager to get started. I don't really know an awful lot about what's out there. Brad tells me that it's between 8 and 12 foot deep, but I think the best thing is just to get a couple of hook baits in the vicinity and go from there. Okay, so last night I actually just tied up just 3 solid bags so that I was ready to chuck out as quickly as possible as soon as I found some fish, because yeah, time is of the essence. So yeah, I've got a loop in my main line and I'm literally just looping it on. I'm good to go straight away. So whilst my first rod has gone out on a solid bag, I don't want to put all of my eggs in one basket. I don't know this place, and things can in winter be very sort of tactic specific. So I'm going to put on a pop-up on one, just with a little tiny stick as well to add a little bit more attraction. Yeah, like I say, not to put all of my eggs in one basket. The solid bag mix is made up of pellets, obviously that's fishy, and then my stick mix is going to be basically live system crumb, and I'm going to be using a carp fruit pop-up, so that's sort of more the sweety, fruity side. So yeah, not all of my eggs in one basket, and we're just going to have to play it by ear today to see which one's working on the day. Well, that hasn't taken long at all, and it's actually the third rod that I put out, and I put my first 2 rods out to where I've seen the 2 fish show, sort of 15-20 yards out, and yeah, dropped the other one down to a snaggy bush just down to the right. I put a couple of handfuls of sweet corn and about 10 mil boilies and a yellow pop-up, and that's the first one that's gone. And yeah, it just shows that what I was saying earlier about snags being such a good holding area for fish in the winter. They just love the sanctuary that it gives them, and yeah, it gives you the chance of getting some bites when it's a little bit colder. Go on. Yeah. You'll do. You'll do. So I couldn't have asked for a much better start than that. We've got a mirror that's probably, I don't know, 13, 14 pounds, but it really doesn't matter. That's what we came to this place for, to get some bites and have a bit of winter action on a short day session. So yeah, well happy with that start, and long may it continue. And there he is, poking his dorsal up for us as well. And yeah, couldn't think of a better start than that. It's what it's all about in the winter, just coming out somewhere and getting a few bites. You know, they are long, hard nights, and to do that throughout the winter relentlessly takes a much better man than me, to be honest. I love coming out, just doing short day sessions, and oh, I've got another bite. I reckon this is a bream. Yeah. That was a lot more excitement than what is on the end. Yeah. Yeah. A bream. to the solid bag. Oh well, that certainly was pretty exciting. Yeah, maybe tells me that the solid bag isn't the way to go today, because yeah, that one came on a pop-up over a small amount of bait, and yeah, maybe I need to switch over the solid bag onto that as well. But I'll unhook this bream and then make that decision maybe after a cup of tea. It's probably been 25 minutes, half an hour since we've got the rod back out on that bush down to the right hand side, and yeah, it's got to get absolutely slammed round. The last bite was actually a drop back, which I wasn't expecting, but this one it's messed up all of my rods. But yeah, we're playing another one. Really yeah, nice fishing, just better than trying to bore something out over nights and nights and nights, where you can just come and fish light and have loads and loads of fun. Come on, Mr. Common Carp. There he is, yellow pop up in his chops. Thank you very much. Yeah. Oh, that is wicked. Proper enjoying myself. So there he is, number 2 of the day, probably about 14-15 pounds, and this one actually had a leech on its lip. And yeah, I know it's only the early part of the winter at the moment, but you can see that water temperature is already getting cold. They're not moving about as much, and that's when the leeches latch onto them. So the fact that they're not moving a lot shows just how important location is. And equally as important is getting something that they're going to want to pick up, and that bright pop up on a very simple rig that we'll talk about in a second was more than enough for this chap. Okay, so I'm pretty much ready to switch all of my rods over to exactly what I've been catching on, and I think that's really important. Again, this time of year, if you find something that works, is get all of your rods on that method, on that rig that's doing the bites for you, because bites can be few and far between, and if you can maximise your chances by having all 3 rods on exactly what's working, then that's going to catch you more fish. So this is what I've been using, and it's really simple. And to be honest, a lot of my fishing just in general is keeping everything as minimalistic as possible, and especially in the winter, just scaling everything back and not having loads of bells and whistles on your rig, I think is really important. So I've got 23-pound Exocet main line straight the way down to my camo leg clip, and that's got the naked line tail rubber on it as well, just to ensure that I get as fewer tangles as possible. I've got one of the Edges leads there, that's a 3-ounce tri pair, and then I've got 6 inches of 25-pound Camotex Soft, my absolute favourite hook link. I don't like these really stiff ones that kick everything as far away from the lead as possible. I think that if you give them a little bit more rope to hang themselves, I think you're going to get more pickups converted into bites rather than a dead straight hook link. Moving on from there, I've just got a tiny little split shot, maybe 5mm from the eye of that size 5 stiff rig beak point hook. I've got a small piece of silicone trapping the hair, and then I've got a 13mm Northern Special yellow pop-up, and it really is as simple as that. That pop-up is sort of balanced under the weight of that shot to sink really slowly, so that it means that no matter how gently that carp sucks up the hook bait, it's going to fly right back into the fish's mouth. To be honest, I don't think you need anything other than that. A lot of people are using Ronnie rigs and that type of thing at the moment, and there's an awful lot going on with those rigs, and I just think scaling everything back to that, having it really simple and bog standard, it's certainly not going to catch you any less fish, and for me, I think it catches me more fish. So that's the setup, and as you saw from that common, it was absolutely nailed, and to be honest, pretty much all of them are like that. So if you want something that's going to be a little bit different to what everybody else is chucking out and is definitely going to catch your fish this winter, then I'd recommend giving this a go. Doing day sessions throughout the winter, venue choice is going to be really important. You don't want to be sitting out on a massive windswept low stock pit and just absolutely peeing in the wind, for want of a better term. You want to find somewhere where you can get close to the fish quite happily, so I think smaller venues lend themselves to that, and you want somewhere with a decent stock of fish. At the end of the day, you want to be coming out for a few hours and getting bites. That's what it's all about at this time of year, having a bit of fun and getting a bend in the rod, because on those venues that you might want to spend more time on during the summer months, they're going to be a lot harder this time of year. So for me, I don't think there's any shame in picking somewhere that's got a lot more fish in it. This lake here at the Warren is called the Square Lake, and it's not the easiest lake on the complex, but equally it's not the hardest lake. It's got a good head of mid doubles up to, I think, just about 30 pounds. And for me, if you're catching mid doubles and with the chance of a 20 pounder this time of year, it's absolutely perfect. So make sure you pick a venue that's got plenty of fish in so that you can keep the bobbins dancing all day. Like I said, choose those better looking areas, the snags, the structure, or that central area of the lake, and fish for liners. If you have a slight drop in your bobbin, make sure that you're using a medium weight bobbin, not one that's too light that will pull up under the weight of the line sinking, but equally not one that's too heavy that won't pull up when a fish comes into contact with your line. So something medium weight. I'm using the dumpy bobbins with the weight taken out of them, which for me are perfect. Fish them on a medium drop, have the sensitivity up on your alarm as well. And if you're not getting line bites and you've sat in the swim for 2 or 3 hours with no indication, to me that suggests that the fish are not there and it's probably worth a move. So rigs and hook baits on day sessions in the winter, I think, are exceptionally important. You've only got a short amount of time, so you want to make sure that you're fishing as effectively as possible, and of course have the most amount of attraction to your hook bait as you possibly can. So with that being said, did we get that, Brad? We're just talking about rigs and hook baits being effective. Oh no, he's going to kite into this other margin. Oh. So I was just starting to talk about hook baits and rigs and making everything as efficient as possible. And yeah, obviously this sort of goes to prove that. Bright hook baits in the winter are just the one. The fish, their eyesight isn't as much. Everything's slowing down for the fish, so you need to make it as easy as possible for them to make out your hook bait. So something that, one, smells and tastes really nice and is as attractive as possible, and one that they can see. And yeah, fluoros for me, yellows, pinks are absolutely perfect. And even though this is the smallest of the day, it demonstrates that. Yeah, it demonstrates that perfectly. And he's ready. There is a Northern Special in his chops. That's a lovely, lovely scaly mirror. Probably one of the younger fish in this lake, but he will certainly do. Awesome. And there he is, another victim of the super bright pop-ups and really simple rig. I don't feel like you need to complicate things at all, and just a simple knotless knot with a shot to balance the pop-up is more than enough at this time of year. And of course it's really easy to tie. You can tie up 5 or 6 the night before in 15 minutes and then you're ready for your session the next day. So I think we've probably got about 3.5 hours left of the session, and if this is anything to go by, I think we'll probably catch a few more. So far this session, I started off really gently. I just put out a solid bag, a stick, and then on my right hander to start I put 2 handfuls of sweet corn and a pinch of 10mm boilies, and that's been the rod that's done all of my bites so far. And basically after each time that I've had a bite, I've put the rig back out and then again just put a couple of handfuls of sweet corn and a couple of handfuls of 10mm over the top. And as a result of that being the successful tactic so far, I've actually put my left hand rod down the margin as well, baited it in exactly the same way, and then I've still kept a rod out in open water where I saw the fish show earlier, but I've put just a couple of impact spods over the top with sweet corn and boilies as well. So I've basically started off with 3 different approaches, and then throughout the day I've narrowed it down to 1, and hopefully towards the end of the day that's going to mean that I'm going to finish with a bit more of a flurry of activity, as maybe I can get a few more rods working for me. So keeping mobile on day sessions is definitely going to be something that will get you more bites. If you're in a swim that's not producing, quite simply moving to somewhere else that looks good could be the difference between catching and not catching. Obviously today, so far, I haven't moved about too much. That's purely because I managed to get it right first time, and I've caught a few fish. But if I don't get a bite for probably the next hour, when I feel like I should be catching more fish, I'll probably move just to give myself an extra chance for the rest of the day. But yeah, just not taking too much kit. I've probably not cut down my kit massively, but I've cut it down enough to mean that moving isn't too much of an issue. My barrow bag has stayed put on top of my barrow all the time. I've got my easy brolly here with me in case it rains. It hasn't done today, but I've always got it with me just in case, and it can go up really quickly and easily. And then I've got side access to the main barrow bag as well to give me easy access to anything. And then I use the barrow as a bit of a station to work from. So you'll have seen that I've done a lot of my rigs and putting on my hook baits and stuff on the barrow, and then every time that I've finished doing any sort of riggy bits or bait bits, my tackle box and my rig box have gone back in the bag so that they're ready for me to move if ever I feel like I need to. Well, I was just chatting with Brad saying that I was surprised that I haven't had another one. Oh, that does look better actually. Yeah, the middle rod fished to where I saw the fish first thing this morning that actually made me come into this swim, that I'd put a little bit more bait over, or a little bit of bait over, because it had been successful close in, and yeah, it's gone off, and actually it does look like a better fish, certainly bigger than the last one we had, and it's just nice like that sort of working out exactly what they want. I started off on a solid bag. You know, that's pretty much my go-to tactic anywhere, any time of year for a quick bite, and it didn't work. And yeah, the bright pop-ups over a little bit of sweet corn and a few boilies, and that's what they seem to be wanting. There he comes. Absolutely lovely. Biggest one of the day for sure. Awesome. Oh, that is what it's about. So there he is, the biggest fish of the session. Came as a result of swapping over. You good? You good? Yeah. Came as a result of swapping over my tactics from the solid bags that I started on to a yellow pop-up and a little bit of sweet corn and live system over the top. And yeah, well happy. This is probably going to be the last fish. I'm going to put the rod back out. I think I've probably got about 20 minutes of light left, and then I'm going to head for home. But well happy with how the day's gone. 4 fish, and I can't really ask for much more than that on a short winter day session. Wicked. Thanks ever so much for watching the video. I really hope you enjoyed it, and now is the chance for you to win over 140 quid's worth of Aquos Camo Luggage. I've got a 20 litre bag, a 30 litre bag, I've got a bucket and insert in the 12 litre size, I've got a small Aquos Camo accessory bag, a medium one too, and an Aquos Camo water bucket. So to win all of those prizes, all you need to do in the comments below is answer this simple question, which is, what pattern of hook did I use to tie the simple knotless knot rig that I used in this session? So like I said, put your answers in the comment section below, and whilst you're down there, click like, click subscribe, and we will pick one of you guys to win this prize.